Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. You see, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we take time to take live questions during the show, but we don't always have enough time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure if you sent in those questions, they get answered properly in a video. So we gather up those unused questions and we address them here on companion videos. And today is Thursday, August the 29th. So these are the questions we didn't have time to get around to from this morning, Thursday, August 29th, John Campea Show. So let's not waste any time and let's dive right into it. And we're going to start getting caught up with Suthius, who wrote, some cool new Marvel and Star Wars attractions / experiences coming to Disneyland. Yes, they are in the next year. So I can't wait to hear y'all talk about it on the show. What's really interesting here is Marvel. They're opening up this huge Marvel campus. And at D23, they were showing off a lot of the plans and the sketches and diagrams and what everything's going to look like. They've already got some stuff up at Disneyland, which is already looking really cool, by the way. And while Galaxy's Edge is already open, they are still yet to open their #1 ride, which they haven't opened yet. I think it's called Rise of Resistance or something like that. But they've got some early previews for Rise of Resistance on YouTube that I stumbled across, and it looks stupid good. Now, Smuggler's Run, the one you do with the Millennium Falcon, that one's really good. I like Smuggler's Run very much. But this Rise of Resistance looks stupid good, and I mean, yeah, I can't wait to get in there and start using those things. Okay, AJD writes, just moved from, I guess, VA's Virginia, is that what it is? To California, and was shocked to see the show so early, because if Virginia's East Coast, yeah, I guess we broadcast live, the John Campea Show, at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's California. But on the East Coast, if that's where you're used to watching it, that's the crack of noon, right? It's noon out there. So I guess it would be a little funny seeing it that early now that you moved out here. By the way, loving California so far. Beautiful mountains, palm trees, and sunsets. I got to tell you, there's an awful lot I like about living in California. Now, don't get me wrong. The moment my wife's job allows, we're moving back to Canada like that. I'm moving back to Canada, but my wife's career needs her here, so I'm going to stay here and we're going to keep her career going here. But the moment her career allows her to make that move, we're making that move. But still, I really do like California. I'll tell you what, the only thing I miss, since I am a Canadian kid, my favorite season is winter. Not all Canadians' favorite season is winter, but my favorite season is winter. And I really miss having 4 seasons. Particularly around Christmas time. It's never felt like Christmas here in California. I've never been in California and have Christmas time feel like Christmas time. I need to go back to Canada for that. So that's what we usually do. But I do like living here a lot. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I'm enjoying it greatly. And just because I miss home doesn't mean I really don't appreciate where I'm at right now, because I really do. It's a great place to be. All right. Payne Perry writes, who would you... I'll try this again. Who would you want to see as an Obi-Wan villain if they have one? Like Cad Bane. I like Cad Bane because him and Kenobi have a history and they could do some cool stuff. I don't care. I've been asked this before, and honestly, I don't care. I would rather them make up a new character. For these new stories, for Obi-Wan, give us new characters. Now, because of canon, it can't be Darth Maul. Because of what we understand about Darth Maul's story in Rebels, he can't be in Obi-Wan. So that's out the window. Cad Bane also, when you go into like Clone Wars, there's some trickiness with Cad Bane. Honestly, my thought is a whole new villain. You know, you're giving us a whole new show. We've got Obi-Wan. That's all we need as a familiar character. Give us all new stories with a brand new villain. Or a brand new series of villains, whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. If they did something like a Cad Bane or somebody else like that, I wouldn't object. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But if you're going to ask me proactively, I would say new characters. Give us a brand new nemesis for Obi-Wan. Give us brand new stories. That's the way I would lean, Payne. All right, Suthius writes, speaking of Paul Bettany, who I really like, he is great in Manhunt, Unabomber, also Netflix, as Ten Krasinski. I enjoyed that as well. Loving all these crime shows. Have not seen that one. I've heard a couple people talk about it, not as glowingly as like some other shows on Netflix, but I've heard some people talk about it. But oddly, that's one I haven't seen. Now, granted, I haven't had a ton of time for watching television stuff, but that's one I have not seen. But I really do like Paul Bettany a lot. So, I mean, between Knight's Tale, Beautiful Mind, Master and Commander, obviously his vision, I just really like the dude. I always have liked him as a performer. So because of that, I'd be intrigued. I don't know if I'll ever get around to watching it, but I'd at least be intrigued. That's for the heads up, Suthius. All right, Josh Jones writes, I'm pumped for this Joker movie. Me too, buddy. At the same time, my love for Joker is connected to his relationship with Batman. That gives me slight pause about it. I know, but what I would say is this. Just recently, we've seen a movie featuring a popular comic book villain who is completely connected in every way to a comic book hero, and that hero has no presence in their movie, and it worked great. Of course, we're talking about Venom, right? Everybody said, oh, Venom will never work. Can't possibly do a Venom movie without Spider-Man. It's never going to work. And it worked. It was a fun little movie, made over $800 million at the box office, worked great. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I never missed Spider-Man in that movie for 1 second. I never missed Spider-Man in that movie for 1 single second. And understanding, the character, I think it's great that we're actually getting this character. You're giving the filmmakers a chance to explore the character without the baggage and the umbilical cord to Batman. So we've got a lot of Batman. It's going to be interesting to see them do this thing solo. So hang in there, Josh. All right. Pablo Diablo writes, so many stairs. Remember when it was a big deal of Hulk talking for the first time in Ragnarok? Well, that wasn't the first time he spoke. Endgame shows him talking since the first Avengers. Oh, and I saw you're firing at the Hulk. Yes. Yeah, you know which one you're talking about. Anyway, remember, in the original Avengers movie, Hulk already spoke. Puny God, right? I am a god, you said, boom, boom, puny god. Like, remember, in the first Avengers, he spoke already. Not in full fluent sentences like he does in Ragnarok, but he had spoken in the first Avengers movie already. So him saying puny god and saying so many stairs, that's only a one-word difference. Like, one sentence had 2 words, one has 3 words. It's really not inconsistent, and it doesn't really retcon anything, because once again, he already spoke. And this event just happens a few minutes after that, a few minutes after the whole puny God statement, or maybe like a half hour later. So it's really not that big of a difference, and it's certainly not a retcon. It's not a retcon. Keep that in mind, Pablo. Anyway, thanks for sending that in, dude. All right, Colby Harris writes, can Disney do the Spider-Man ride at Marvel Land? Yes, because movie rights and theme park rights are completely different things. They're absolutely completely different things. So there's nothing to worry about there. For example, where's Harry Potter Land? Where's the Wizarding World of Harry Potter? It's not at Warner Brothers Land, even though Harry Potter is a Warner Brothers picture. It's at Universal Studios Hollywood. They have the theme park rights to Harry Potter. So they are different things. So as far as I understand, yep, they can totally do Spider-Man attractions at the theme park. What they probably can't do is have Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but they can do Spider-Man. All right. Jonathan Sotelo writes, John, I know you hate the time travel / it was all a dream gimmick in movies, but I hate the I had a twin the whole time gimmick to me. Thoughts? Well, I don't think those are comparable, because one happens a hell of a lot more often than the others. Like, I can sit here right now, and you can too. I can rifle off to you 10 TV shows, movies, top of my head, that use the ridiculous time travel motifs. Can't do that for twins. And again, the reason why I would give a little bit more leeway to the notion of twins is because the twin narrative hook has been an important thing in Star Wars lore. From canon, which is Luke and Leia, to expanded Legends universe, the Solo twins, right? So twins has been a key thing about the history of Star Wars, so it's a little bit more leeway there too. So I would say what makes them different is the frequency of which it's used. And I think the whole time travel alternate dimension thing has been used a hell of a lot more than the twin thing. So I don't equate them personally, Jonathan. That doesn't mean it shouldn't bother you. I mean, if that's a thing that bothers you, then that's a thing that bothers you, and you don't need to apologize for that. I'm just explaining that I see it a little bit differently, mostly because of the frequency to which it's used and the way I've seen it used. So I really don't see that being an issue at all, to be honest with you. And the other thing is, too, there's a hell of a lot of sets of twins in the world. Lots of twins. You can walk around, you'll find twins. There is no time travel in the world. So that's the other thing. Like, twins is also it's not like it's a made up sci-fi concept. The concept of there being twins is not a made up sci-fi concept. It's a real thing in real life. There are really twins out there, and lots of them. I grew up knowing 3 different sets of twins, as a matter of fact. Anyway, so yeah, to me, I see a lot of differences between the two situations. Again, that doesn't mean you need to, but if you're asking me my opinion on that, Jonathan, I see it as a little bit of a different thing. Anyway, Suthius writes, movie downloadable content. You want more content? Pay up. Yep, I hate that, Suthius. That is exactly the slippery slope that we are going down right now. That we are doing, hey, come see the movie. And then a few weeks later, we didn't show you the whole movie. You want to see the whole movie now? Buy another ticket. I mean, it's killed the video game industry to me. But I mean, obviously the video game industry is still very much thriving. But it's one of the things that turned me off video games, is the whole DLC racket. But hey, hopefully movie fans will take a stand and not support this stuff. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Where did we go? There we are. Yoshai writes, I am really excited for the final season of Mr. Robot in October. However, I am bummed out that no one I really know watches it. Do you like the show? And will you be watching the final season? Thanks. Never watched it. Never watched it. I know that Rami Malek has won several awards for it. I have some friends of mine that really enjoy it. But I have no plans on watching the final season because I've never watched any of the other seasons. So, I mean, that's not 100% true. I've watched a little bit of it, but I've never watched an entire season. Never watched an entire season. So, no, unfortunately, Yoshai will not be going into it. But again, I've heard it's a great show. It's won a lot of awards, including Emmys. Rami Malek has been decorated for it. I know it's been a celebrated show, so hopefully you love the last season as much as you've loved the other season. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, buddy. All right. S. Beam writes, 7 whole minutes or 7 scattered minutes. I have a feeling it'll probably be like 2 scenes. One 4-minute scene, including that one part that's in the trailer showing Spider-Man stopping all the robbers, and then probably one other scene. Somebody brought up earlier this morning on the John Campea Show, wouldn't it be awesome if Sony edits in Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock on the scene at the beginning of the movie when they're in Mexico and investigating, and Eddie Brock's down there investigating the destruction of this town? That'd be kind of fun. They're not going to do that. They're not doing that. But oh my God, that would be hilarious if that was a couple of those extra minutes. Single Step Entertainment writes, listening from Florida, sitting here in line for gas because of the incoming hurricane. Thanks, guys, for helping me pass the time. Yeah, everybody who's down there, whether you're in Florida or one of the offshore islands, buckle down. Thoughts and prayers with you guys. Hang tight. Do everything you need to do to get everything secure. Here's hoping it de-escalates too terribly much before it gets full landfall. So hang in there, Single Step. We'll be thinking about you. All right. Sheepdog117 writes, why do people eat anything besides breakfast food? I don't think that's from Parks and Rec, but it sounds like something Leslie Knope would say. It also sounds like something Ron Swanson would say, so it's probably from something else. I'm going to guess it's from that. Animator Alex writes, thoughts on the film A Cure for Wellness? I had high hopes. Gore Verbinski directed. You had Dane DeHaan, Jason Isaacs, and it didn't deliver. It felt like it was trying to be, in tone at any rate, Martin Scorsese's, what was Scorsese's movie? Something Island. What was Scorsese's? Hold on a second. I'm trying to remember the name of that. The one he had DiCaprio starring in with him. It was something called Shutter Island. I didn't have to look it up. I was about to look it up, but I didn't look it up. Shutter Island is that. So A Cure for Wellness kind of felt like it was going for that sort of a feel, and it has its upside, but I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed. I was expecting a little bit more. I love Dane DeHaan, love Jason Isaac, but I liked what they were going for, but to me, it just didn't quite work out. Anyway, Absent Good writes, what movie are you looking forward to this fall? Earlier today, somebody asked me, what if I could only watch 3 movies for the rest of the year, what would it be? And I said, Joker, Star Wars Episode 9, and then a really tight race for that last third spot between Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood and Ford v Ferrari. So those are the films that I'm most looking forward to for the rest of the year. Those are the films that are at the top of my list right now that I'm really excited about. Schuler Jeff Ress writes, new trailers, Jexy and Villains. Which one is Villains? I know Jexy's the one about the phone. Hold on a second. Oh, the one with Skarsgård. You know what? I don't think I've seen the trailer for that one yet. I don't think I've seen the trailer for it. I heard that it was out, but I've not seen the trailer for it, so I can't speak to that one on myself. You know what? I didn't like the Jexy trailer. I thought it was really stupid. But the first time I saw it, I was in a movie theater with Anne and a bunch of people. And I thought it was just a stupid trailer. Dumb. But everybody else in the theater loved it. And my wife loved it. Like, the trailer's done, and I'm about to turn to my wife and go, wasn't that stupid? And I turned to Anne, getting ready to say, wasn't that stupid? And Anne's like, I want to see it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she and everybody else loved the trailer. So for whatever reason, the trailer didn't work for me, but everybody else loved it, including my wife. So I'll give the movie a shot. I'll give the movie a shot, but Villains, I can't speak to Villains, unfortunately. All right. Richard Y writes, over or under 25% that we see the Darksaber in The Mandalorian. 0. Love the show. It really makes my morning fly by. That's awesome. This isn't remember, The Mandalorian is not a movie about the Mandalorian culture. This is a lone gunfighter on the edges of civilized space. This is an old Western. So no, this isn't, if this movie or this show is going to be at all about Mandalorian culture and the world of the Mandalorians and, the culture of the Mandalorians, great. This is one lone Mandalorian on the edges of civilized space, a lone gunfighter. It's a Western. I don't expect to see the Darksaber at all. So I'll go like sub 1%, maybe not 0, but sub 1%. I don't think we're going to see the Darksaber in that at all. Mr. L writes, DC still hasn't released most of their stealing shows. Do you mean streaming? I'm going to guess you mean streaming. DC still hasn't released most of their streaming shows internationally. Should we fear the same with Disney Plus? It's hard to say. I mean, you get something like CBS All Access, which does put, Star Trek Discovery in almost every market. Like, it's in most markets around the world. Even though CBS All Access is only in the US, they license it out to other streaming things around the world. Look, I have no insider information on this. My guess is that Disney will stream it and license it out to other streamers where Disney Plus does not yet exist. However, they won't want to do it in countries where they're going to be rolling out Disney Plus in like the next 6 months, right? Because they don't want to sign a 3-year deal for, let's take a random company. I don't know. Let's say Portugal. Okay. Would Disney want to lease out or license out, say, The Mandalorian on Netflix in Portugal for like 2 years when they plan on opening Disney Plus in Portugal a year from now? Well, no, they don't want their content to be on another streamer in that market when they launch their network in that market, right? So we're just going to have to wait and find out. But hopefully countries like yours will be able to get it fairly quickly after the launch of Disney Plus. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Corey Dawn writes, thanks for the show. Love that 2 of my favorite YouTubers, John and Chris, combine their powers to entertain us. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And, I love the fact that I found Chris. I really do. When I put out a job posting for wanting a new on-camera contributor, I got, hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon somewhere between 400 and 800 resumes. I can't remember off the top of my head. And they narrowed it down to 20 people that I would interview, knowing that whenever you send out invitations to interview, half of those people don't show up. But so I sent out 20 invitations to interview. And when I got Chris's resume, one of the main things on there, of course, was Nerdwire. And I watched her stuff on Nerdwire and I was instantly taken with her. I thought, wow, this girl's got great energy. So I definitely wanted to interview her. And so she came in and she wasn't the last person I interviewed that day, but she was one of the final people I interviewed that day. And I realized immediately that her energy off camera is the exact same person you get on camera. And I kind of fell in love with her a little bit. I fell in love with her just a little bit that day. And then I knew right away, this is our person. This is the person. I just thought she's got great energy. And, you know, she still auditions and does other things. And I'm hoping that just like some other people that have worked with me in the past, that bigger things come along, that they get to leave the show. I know that sounds weird. I'm hoping that they leave the show, but I'm hoping they get to leave the show because hopefully being part of the show that I'm doing will increase their profile a little bit and open up other opportunities, and hopefully they get bigger and better things. So I hope that happens for Chris. But until that day, I'm very happy to have her here on the John Campea Show. I think we're really lucky that we found her. Thanks for sharing that, Corey. All right, Suthius writes, John Connor sent a T-800 too far back in time to a galaxy far, far away. It wakes up red eyes glowing and has a gold exoskeleton, and it has a British accent. There you go. Everything is a shared cinematic universe. No, again, if you guys haven't seen it, look it up. Look up the protocol droid for Dr. Aphra. Now, Dr. Aphra is a Star Wars comic series about this character who's great. And she has these two droids that look exactly like, well, in many ways, exactly like C-3PO and R2-D2, only they're serial killers, these droids. They're obsessed with just murdering living organic life. They just want to murder. That's all they ever want to do is murder. And they're kind of hilarious. And anyway, the one has got the glowing red eyes. And that's what it reminds me of. So I can't help but wonder if there's a little bit of Dr. Aphra influence coming in here, but we'll have to wait and see. All right. Hoser Miaz writes, where are we at? There it is. Will dark rituals appear in The Rise of Skywalker? I think there's a chance, just understanding. It depends on what it is Palpatine's trying to do. So I'll give a 20% chance. Not a huge chance, but a substantial one. I'll give it a 20% chance. Charles Harkins writes, are you watching Lawrence of Arabia this weekend? Unfortunately, no. My weekend is booked. My weekend is completely booked, and I will have no time, unfortunately, to go see Lawrence of Arabia. I know it's playing in some theaters around here this weekend, but I'm not going to have a chance to, even though it's one of my all-time favorite movies, and I've never seen it on the big screen. Oh, wait. But anyway, long story short, I won't be able to see it this weekend. Paige? Is that how you pronounce it? Paige? Anyway, Chandri writes, hi, from San Antonio. Love the John Campea crew. Thank you so much. My question is, do you think that Paramount needs to be more financially viable? What IP can they tap into? I don't want another studio going away. I don't think Paramount's in any trouble. They haven't had a good couple of years. They haven't had a great couple of years. That being said, they have had a couple of hits. They've got a couple of valuable IPs. I don't know that the answer is tapping into pre-existing big-name IPs. I think the answer lies into just start creating some of their own great original content and, you know, generating some revenue and some hits that way. And by the way, a hit doesn't need to be $1 billion movie. It doesn't even need to be an $800 million movie. Just make a couple of movies for 90 to 100 million bucks. Make 350 million bucks on them at the box office, and you're laughing and you're golden. So just get a few of those. But let's not forget, they do already sit on some pretty valuable IP. From the Mission Impossible franchise, the Transformers franchise. They've got some stuff going for them. The question is, how will they rebound after a couple of bad years? But I don't know that the answer is to desperately look for some big IP that at most gives them like one movie a year, probably one movie every 2 years. So that's not going to solve their problem. They just have to develop a little bit more consistency, I think. But this is a long storied studio. I think, and with the backing that they have, I don't think we're about to see them go away anytime soon. It hasn't been a good couple of years, but a couple of bad years aren't going to sink Paramount. So I don't think there's any need to panic at this point. Let's just see how they rebound over the next year or two. Excellent observation, man. All right, Frank Salcido writes, which Mindhunter season did you like better? I actually like season 2 better. I love season 1. Love it. And season 2 exceeded my expectations. Like, I don't think it's 1,000 times better than season 1, maybe just by a little bit, but I actually like season 2 even better. I know a lot of my friends love both seasons, but they prefer season 1. I actually am one of those guys that I prefer season 2. Okay. Noah Mellemstrand writes, I meant earlier that the Rebels are in trouble, not Lucasfilm. LOL, my bad. I do not recall what you're referring to. I remember we get 60 to 100 super chats sent in a day. I I don't think you sent in something earlier today. Was that like from yesterday or a few days ago? I can't remember. Do me a favor, guys. If you want to reference something that you had said previously, give me a little hint as to what it was you were talking about before. But for anybody else who remembers what Noah was talking about, you just set off a light bulb for them, Noah. Anyway, thanks for following that up, dude. All right. Neobites writes, John is the George Lucas of YouTube slaying fanboys. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I'll take it as a compliment for now. Thank you, Neobites. Coolsome XD writes, not the biggest Bond fan, seen all the Craig ones. GoldenEye came to TV last night, and it's now my favorite Bond movie. Pierce Brosnan and Sean Bean are the best. GoldenEye is great, but I will admit that when I think of GoldenEye, I don't think of the movie. You all know what I'm going to say. I think of the Nintendo game. I think of the GoldenEye Nintendo game, one of the greatest video games of all time. That's what I think about. But the movie is great. Make no mistake about it. The movie's great. To me, Casino Royale is still the best of the new era of movies. I mean, I really like Daniel Craig as Bond. He is actually my favorite James Bond ever. That's no shade or disrespect on the Roger Moores or the Sean Connerys of the world or the Timothy Daltons or whatever, or the Pierce Brosnans, but I really like Daniel Craig's Bond. I really do. But GoldenEye is a good, solid movie. I just think of the video game first when I think of GoldenEye, but that's just me. Stubble McShave writes, Chappelle's Achoo is his character, and that's Dave Chappelle? I had no idea. Man, it's been a long time since I've watched Men in Tights, though. We're men, manly men, men in tights. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I had no idea that was Dave Chappelle. Okay, see? Learn something new here every day, Stubble. Learn something new every day. Purple Zaffrey writes, over under 50% Jedi/lightsabers in Mandalorian. Oh, way less. Way less. Like 1%. 1%. This is off on the edges of the galaxy. This is only a 6-episode series. I do not believe at all that they're going to go into Jedis and light. This is a Western gunfighter show. So I'm not going to say 0, but 50% is way too high. Maybe 10, probably closer to 3%. Probably closer to 3%. Not impossible, but this just doesn't seem like that's going to have that at all. This is a Western kind of a show. Lone gunfighter on the edges of civilization. That's what they're going for. I don't think we're going to see any Jedis or lightsabers or dark sabers or anything in this show. It's possible, but I think very unlikely. Jonathan Sotelo writes, John, bring back the suits. I remember when you wore them on AMC because your mother-in-law thought you didn't have a real job like Ray. Love the show and bring on the filthy. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, back in the AMC Movie Talk days, there was a period of time, it was short-lived, but there was a period of time that I started wearing not a full suit because I never wore a tie, but button-up shirt and jacket. I wore partial suit on the show. The reason is Anne was... I don't think my mother-in-law, Anne's mom, has ever fully understood what it is that I do. So one day, Anne was showing her, they were watching the show. Anne was showing her mom the show, trying to explain what it is I do. And Anne's mom, who speaks English, but it's very broken English, says to Anne, why John dress like hobo? My mother-in-law said about me, why John dress like hobo? Asking her daughter, my wife. So Anne tells me that story, completely pleased with herself, and loved it that her mother said that and was laughing at me. So I said, fine, I'll wear a suit for a while. So for a month or two, I would wear button-up shirt and jacket on AMC Movie Talk. I knew it was never going to be a permanent thing. I said, I'm just going to do this for a while, just get my mother-in-law off my back. But yeah, why John dress like hobo? That will never leave my imagination. But I am not going to be wearing button-up shirts and jackets again. No, for a couple of reasons. One, that's just not how I dress. I never do. But number two is, it gets hot in here. Like when I do when I do the show live, I don't have the air conditioner on for the most part because it's a noise in the background. It's distracting for the audience. When I'm doing companion videos, you can probably hear a little bit in the background that I've got the AC on. I have to, because in the San Fernando Valley here, I'm in this little room, and it gets hot in here if I don't have the AC on. But it's just too warm in here for me to wear, button-up shirts with a jacket. I just can't do it, dude. I just can't do it. I'm not saying it's a terrible idea. I just can't do it. All right, Coolsome XD writes, late to watch the show, got Astral Chain on the Switch. You know what? I have tragically underused my Switch. I have a Nintendo Switch, and we mostly use it to play Mario Party when we have friends come over, and a little bit of Mario Kart as well. But there's a bunch of really good games on there that I got to start using and playing more. So thank you, Coolsome XD, for reminding me to get back on my Switch a little bit. All right, Sheepdog117 writes, Universal is having a House of 1,000 Corpses house for Halloween. What are your thoughts on that movie? I don't think it's very good. I love Rob Zombie, but I hate the movie. I like Rob Zombie's music. Like, when you go to my various playlists, you'll usually come across at least one or two Rob Zombie tunes. That said, I've never, honestly, I like him as a personality. I've never liked him as a filmmaker. I wish I could say that I did. I wish I could say that I liked his movies. Honestly, I don't. And House of 1,000 Corpses is just another one that I didn't like. I don't think he's the worst director in the world, not by any stretch. It's just, I don't hear a film by Rob Zombie, and that doesn't get me excited, just to be honest with you. All right, Jedi Koth writes, you probably meant, and you, over under 30%. Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit and makes an appearance in the at the end of Mandalorian to lead us into season 2. Under 30% on that. I believe John Favreau, I could be wrong about this, but I believe John Favreau has already put that whisper to rest. I think John Favreau has already definitively said there's not going to be Boba Fett in this movie. You're not going to see Boba Fett. Just because Boba Fett comes from the same lineage or the same culture that this one guy doesn't mean he's going to pop up in everything that has a Mandalorian. So I'm going to go under 30. I'm not going to say 0, but I'm going to go well under 30 on that, because I believe I've heard Favreau already say that we're not going to see Boba Fett in this show. Let's see. Araceli Villa writes, hey, John, hope you're feeling better today and moving forward. I am. Thank you. So I had took a much needed day off yesterday, and just had a chance just to reflect and, like I said, email a bunch of people and stuff like that. I mean, it still sucks. I mean, the situation, I'm not going to rehash it all right now. It still sucks, but we go on and we do move forward, and that's what we need to do. So, but thank you for asking. I appreciate that very much. Lone Wolf X6 writes, I'm the Magic Man. My favorite line from Legion. You know what? I watched season 1 of Legion. Really liked it. Like, I hated the premiere. I hated the pilot. So I didn't watch episode 2. And then it took a few months, and everybody kept convincing me, John, the show gets really good. The show gets really good. You got to get back on it. So Ann and I got back on Legion season 1 and loved it. Loved the rest of season 1. Had really enjoyed it. And I was looking forward to season 2. And Ann and I got about 4 episodes into season 2, and we tapped out. It's like, this sucks. I know a lot of people love season 2, and that's great. I just thought it was terrible. I couldn't watch it anymore. I just couldn't watch it. I love season 1. I couldn't watch it anymore. So I didn't see the end of season 2 or the entire second half of season 2. No plans for the final season either. So, but that's just me. Ton Toothman writes, glad to see you back, buddy. Missed you. Love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I missed doing the show yesterday. It's like yesterday morning came around and I'm sitting around. I'm like, it feels weird that I'm not doing the show right now, but it was a needed day off. But anyway, thank you for that, Key. I appreciate that, dude. All right. RPG with DBJ, Dave Breon Jackson sends in a really big super chat. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. And writes, thank you. I've been live streaming 5 days a week for nearly 2 years now. At an hour a day, I can attest to the hours spent behind the scenes. I stole your format, but regarding role-playing games, your ethic is unmatched. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I'm going to have to check that out because, I'm kind of big into role-playing games. I'm going to have to go and check that out. That sounds great. Well, listen, seriously, thank you so much for sharing that. It's always nice to know, because one of the things I want to do is inspire and encourage more people to get involved in online fandom of whatever their fandom is. Certainly the movie and entertainment sphere needs more people adding their voices to the conversation, but for anything that it is you love. add your voice to the conversation. Become an influencer. Doesn't matter if you only have 5 people reading or listening to or watching your content. It doesn't matter if you have 500 people reading or listening to or watching your content. Get involved. It just makes being a part of that particular fandom, whatever fandom it is, all the more enriching and all the more exciting to be a part of, and you feel more invested in it, and you get to share your thoughts and everything with other people with similar interests. It's great, and I really want to encourage more people to do that. So thank you for sharing that with me, dude. I really appreciate it, and I hope things go well. And I'm going to go check you out. I'm going to go check it out just because, I like role-playing games so much. So thanks for sharing, man. All right. Lone Wolf X6 writes, can you address me as Joker? Send in the clowns. And that end to the trailer. And somebody else wrote in earlier today, Lone Wolf, might have been you, might have been somebody else, that I bet when that happens, terrible things are going to happen to the audience. I don't know that for sure. There is precedence for that in the comics, but we're going to have to wait and see. But I'm dying to see this movie, man. All right, Ben Rayner writes, prediction. Breathing is not Vader, but Palpatine. He perfected breathing machine for himself. Possible. Because, in that footage from Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, at one point, just before we see Dark Rey, we hear the traditional classic, we hear the Darth Vader breathing, right? So, I was saying this morning, I have no idea what the hell they're not bringing back Vader, are they? But maybe it's Palpatine himself. Maybe it's Palpatine's got to have his own respirator at this point in his life. That's not a crazy theory, Ben. It's not a crazy theory. I don't mind that theory at all. Let's keep our eyes open for that. Okay, next up, Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, John, Midsommar's director's cut this weekend with 30 extra minutes. Now's your chance, maybe a double feature with The Farewell. I did actually get around to watching Midsommar a while ago, so I did get around to that. Didn't particularly love it. And no way am I going to support this developing trend of studios showing an incomplete version of their movie and then showing it with extra stuff and asking you to go back out and buy new tickets again. I am not going to support this at all. I don't want this to become a thing. Show me the full movie as it's supposed to be right out the gate, and then leave bonus feature stuff for home video. I do not like this double dipping. I'm never going to encourage it, and I'm never going to endorse it or support it. Just in a couple of months now, we've got 3 films doing it. Endgame, Far From Home, Midsommar. I just, no more. And Anna and I are going to go see The Farewell tonight. Finally, Anna and I got a night together. We could do it, and we're going to go see The Farewell tonight. Let's see. Lone Wolf X6 writes, Ray funnier than Ellis and Harloff? Listen, I said earlier today that Ray is like the funniest guy I know. I mean that in the context of just sitting around talking. Ray constantly cracks us up. Now, Mark Ellis and Harloff, who are or have been professional stand-up comedians, like when they are creating material, I mean, they're second to none. I mean, Ellis is so freaking good. I was just in Vegas recently, and I was there for the World Series of Poker, and Mark messaged me. He just happened to be in Vegas at the same time. He was performing at, what's the guy's name? The guy who was on Everybody Loves Raymond. Also, I keep forgetting his name. Is it Everyone Loves Raymond, or is it Everybody? It's Everybody Loves Raymond. So the secondary character, the guy who plays his brother in that, what's his name? Brad Garrett. So Brad Garrett has his own comedy club. Brad Garrett, by the way, is freaking hilarious. Anyway, Brad Garrett has his own comedy club at I believe it's at the MGM Grand. And it's his name's on the name of it too. So Mark was performing there while I was in Vegas, and he's like, come on out and see me. So I go out, and he puts my name on the list, so I get in for free. Thank you, Mark. And Brad Garrett came out to open the show. I was not prepared for how freaking hilarious Brad Garrett is. Mark was great. Don't get me wrong. Ellis was fantastic that night. But I knew Mark would be fantastic because I've seen him do comedy. I already know Mark is fantastic. But I was not prepared for how good Brad Garrett was. Seriously, I never didn't think he'd be that funny, but he was unbelievable. If you are ever in Vegas, I highly recommend checking that out. Anyway, getting back to the Ray and Ellis thing. Like, just sitting around talking, Ellis is really funny. And when he prepares material, he's top notch. But when I say Ray is the funniest guy I know, I just mean that in simple terms of just hanging out with him and him just saying the weirdest crap that comes to his mind, and he is constantly cracking us up. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say he should be a stand-up comedian like Ellis, who is top of his game. But seriously, if you ever have a chance to sit around and hang out with Ray, oh my God, if he wasn't so camera shy, I would definitely put him on air. But he's too nervous to be on air. But oh God, Ray is so funny. He's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, I love Midsommar, a pass on the re-release because it's not in most theaters anymore. It actually adding a lot of stuff and it's only for a weekend. Yeah, I still don't give it a pass. I just don't like the idea of it at all. I don't like the idea of it at all. Now, I'm not going to crap on it too, because like you said, hey, at least it's not like Endgame that didn't have any new footage. At least it's more than Far From Home, which is adding like 7 minutes. So I'll give it that, but I still don't like it, Razor's Edge. I still don't like it. No, sir. I don't like it. Don't like it. Not going to support it. But anyway, that's just me. Kinky Sphincter writes, any word on who Matt Smith is playing in episode 9? No, somebody asked that exact same question earlier this week. No idea at this point. I had actually thought I had heard, and it turns out I was wrong about this, thankfully. I thought I had heard that he actually wasn't even going to be in the movie anymore. But then I reread that up and I found, oh, no, that was for something else. So, but who he's playing, no idea. A lot of people like to think it's Thrawn, but the only reason people are thinking it's Thrawn is because he bears a little bit of a resemblance to Thrawn, the illustrated Thrawn character. I doubt it's Thrawn. But no idea at this point. No idea yet. I just have a feeling if it was Thrawn, they would market that and they would advertise that. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe it will be. We'll have to wait and see. Stubble McShave writes, watched Hot Shots. It had cake recipes in credits. Did it seriously? By the way, Hot Shots and Heart Shots Part 2. Two of the great spoof movies. Not top 2 or 3, but 2 of the great spoof movies ever. I didn't realize they had cake recipes in the credits. That's hilarious. Thank you for letting me know about it, because it's been a while since I've watched either of those movies. I got to get back and watch those again because they are classic. They are absolutely classic. I love those. All right. Valhalla Erickson writes, now that Bill and Ted has got a sequel, I wouldn't mind a sequel to The Breakfast Club, perhaps as a high school reunion film. You know what? I don't think that's the dumbest idea in the world. You know, now that I think about it, I'll be honest with you, I like that idea more than I like the Bill and Ted idea. I'm one of the few people in the world that I'm not super stoked for a Bill and Ted 3. I'm just being honest. I'm not super stoked for it. I'm not against it, but if you're going to ask me if I'm excited about it, I'm not excited about it. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But the idea of a Breakfast Club one? Yeah. Because what are any of those people doing these days? I mean, they got some... Emilio Estevez has some free time. Judd Nelson's got some free time. I mean, why not? Get them back together. Sure. I'm down for it. I like the idea of Valhalla. Anyway, Yoda writes, John, with the talk of clones, could Rey and the dark side Rey be clones of Ben/Kylo? There is an age gap between Rey and Kylo. Well, no, I don't think so. Because they look... First of all, they're a different gender and look nothing like Kylo at all. Like, even remotely. Remember, in Star Wars, when they make clones, they all look the same, right? And they look exactly the same as the person they were cloned after. So, I'm going to guess no. I don't think there's much of a chance of that. I wouldn't put anything. Let's just be clear, though. I wouldn't put anything past JJ. Like, he might pull something wild out of his pocket. Who knows? But I'm going to guess no. But, you know, I wouldn't fall out of my chair with complete shock if they did it. I just think it's unlikely. But who knows? It's possible. All right, Kinky Sphincter writes, going to see Matrix in Dolby today. Can't wait. Oh, that's cool. Going to go see the original Matrix back on the big... That's cool. That is one I would like to go... Not every movie... do you need to see on the big screen again? But the really good ones and the really classic ones and things like Matrix, that's a good one. I hope you have a really good time, Kinky. Let us know what you thought about it. Because I love seeing movies I love on the big screen. I love seeing movies I love on the big screen, which really makes me wish I could go see Lawrence of Arabia. Kenneth Colton writes, hey, John, I have played Xbox all my life, but I am but I finally buying a PS4 Pro for the new game called Death Stranding. Norman Reedus is the main character. Yeah, I've seen people streaming that actually. Character rebuilding civilization looks bananas. I actually have a PlayStation 4 Pro, and I never touch it. I got it initially so I could play Spider-Man, but I played about an hour of it, maybe. It's great, but I just got so frustrated with it. Here's the thing. I still have the controller on my desk too, because I can play it remotely on my PC. Because my PS4 and my computer are on the same network, so I can just pull up my PS4 games right here in front of me on my screen and play. So I cannot use these. I don't know why I bought the PS4. I've always known that I am no good at playing with controllers. I can't. I'm much more of a keyboard and mouse guy. I got to play games on PC. But I have this great PS4, practically still in brand new condition, just sitting in my bedroom under my bedroom television that never gets used. It's just sitting there collecting dust. I haven't touched it in a while. I got to see if I can get back into it. I really do, because I spent a lot of money on that damn thing, thinking I would play it a lot. Anyway, that game in particular, though, with Norman Reedus, that does look really good. I've seen promos for it, and I've seen some people streaming. So here's hoping. All right, Evelyn writes. Oh, last couple of questions here, and then we're all caught up. All right, Evelyn writes, did you see the trailer for the movie The King? I don't think so. Let me see here. What one is The King? I don't think I have. Oh, with Timothée Chalamet. Yes, I did. Sorry. Why was I thinking that was something completely different? Yeah, that dropped the other day. I liked it. I think I need to see a little bit more. Listen, Timothy, I'm not going to say, so don't misquote me on this later. I'm not saying Timothée Chalamet is the next Daniel Day-Lewis. But I'm going to say, if there was any young actor today that has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis, it's this kid. Again, don't misquote me. I'm not saying he's the next Daniel Day-Lewis. All I'm saying is, out of all the young actors in Hollywood today, if I were to point to anybody who has the potential to be the next one, I'm going to go with this kid. That's really Ben Mendelsohn's in it. Joel Edgerton's in it. Robert Pattinson, the new Batman, is in it. Robert Pattinson's got a lot of cool stuff coming up. But we'll see how the movie is. We'll see how it is. All right, S. Beam, final question today, writes, is John Wick Neo put back in the Matrix? Again, got everything's got to be a shared cinematic universe. Let's put it this way, S. Beam, I wouldn't fall out of my chair in total shock if in John Wick 4 they reveal he is actually Neo back in the Matrix. And then that leads us into the new announced Matrix 4. There you go. I just cracked the code on everything. There you have it. All right, guys. That will do it for this installment of the companion videos. We're now all caught up on all the questions that you guys sent in. Big thank you to all you guys who sent in questions, not just because you gave us great fun stuff to talk about, but also because you supported the channel along the way as you were doing it, and I thank you for that. Don't forget the John Campea Show is back again tomorrow. Unlike most Fridays where I usually do Friday solo, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett is joining me for tomorrow. Make sure you guys come on back and join us then. Anyway, that'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.